I'm Callie and welcome to Kapowski Reads, and today I am doing an unhaul. I have recently, well not recently, months ago, I ran out of space to put my books. I have some bookshelves where I keep the books that I've read and enjoyed, and I have a rather limited amount of space where I keep my unread books, my physical TBR, and I'm completely out of space. So, unhaul, that's what we're doing. So first up, I have Tara Road by Maeve Binchy. This is an author I have read before. She was one of my sister's favourite authors, so I've read some of her books, but they're really not for me. So first on the chopping block, Foursome by Jane Fallon. This just doesn't sound like something I just wasn't really interested in this one. Yeah. And Searching for Tilly by Susan Salas. This book just sounds like it's going to be really, really sad, and I cry at everything. I do not seek out books that are going to make me cry. I'm just an emotional little puffin, so I cry at everything. And I don't think I would be hydrated enough to read this. The next four are all books that I have been advised by people who know my reading style, my reading taste really, really well, that these books are highly unlikely to be enjoyed by me. I have been told that these books include things that I am not comfortable with reading. So I am taking that very reliable advice and going with it. So next up for the charity shop pile are Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami, which I really was looking forward to, but I've been told there's a few scenes that I would not be okay with reading, so nope. And Firefly Lane by Kirsten Hanna. I also saw a spoiler for the TV programme, the adaptation of this, which I've not watched, but I know I can't read that book knowing how it's gonna go. And I've only read one book by this author before, and it emotionally drained me, and that wasn't an enjoyable experience. Reading a book that just was so heartbreaking, but so no, I don't think this author is for me. I don't want to cry any more than I already do. Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. This is one of my friend's favourite books, but when I told her I was going to read it, she basically told me, no, put the book away. You will not be okay with this. So I'm taking that reliable advice. And The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. I bought this ages ago and I was really excited to read it, but since purchasing it, I've found a few of the content warnings and no, not for me. It's also a very nice floppy paperback, so I think somebody's going to really enjoy this book. I've got some middle grade books as well that I'd kind of purchased initially with the thought that I would read them and then my stepkids would maybe have a go, but they are not interested in these books at all, so it feels wasteful to keep them when I don't have space for them, the kids don't want them on their bookshelves, and some other kids could enjoy these books. So The Hatmakers by Tamsin Merchant. I really enjoyed this book, but I know I'm not going to read it again. But it has got sprayed edges and it's gorgeous and it was a really enjoyable book. The Ministry of Unladylike Activity by Robin Stevens. Again, really enjoyed it, but I'm not going to read it a second time. And The Magic Faraway Tree by Jacqueline Wilson, which is a signed book. I bought this, I pre-ordered it out of nostalgia because I grew up reading Enid Blyton and I had some warm and fuzzies about the book, the Magic Faraway Tree series, and I was really excited to see how a sort of modern version of these stories would end up, and I really enjoyed the book, but again, I'm not the target audience and I feel like I wanted to read it once. I don't think I'm gonna read it again, so these can go off and someone else can enjoy them. I have some more hardback that can go off to the charity shop. The Waking Forest by Alyssa Wees. I loved half of this book, absolutely loved half of it. but I didn't love half of it. And I kept it because I was so attached to the half that I loved. But because there was the half I didn't, I know I'm not going to read it again, because I'm just going to be wishing it was all entirely that half that I really enjoyed. And I know that's really cryptic, but I don't want to spoil this book. It's super short, so any sort of mild spoilers could really ruin enjoyment for people who haven't read it. So, ooh, cryptic. And one of the most beautiful books that I own, The Mad Woman's Ball by Victoria Mass. I really enjoyed this book. It was really like upsetting and infuriating to read at points, but I'm really glad I read it and I did enjoy it. I just don't think that I'm going to read it again. And it's so pretty, but it's also gorgeous on the inside, and it's got like a gorgeous naked hardback, but this can go off to somebody else who will get enjoyment from it. I'm also unhauling Marple because I hated this book. That sounds so harsh, but I think it's true. I think I really did hate it. But it became very clear that a lot of the authors, it seemed, had not read any Miss Marple stories, or if they had, it didn't show. The beloved character in these stories felt very one-dimensional in about half of the stories, and it kind of put me off of reading some of these authors. Like, I will never read a Leigh Bardugo book again. I know that that's a bold claim. I know a lot of people really enjoy her writing, but if you read the story that she wrote about Marple in this book, you might be enraged also. So I'm getting rid of this book because it made me so annoyed and I wanted to throw it. And I didn't, because this book was really expensive to buy because I pre-ordered it. In a sort of similar vein, I'm going to be unhauling Killings at Kingfisher Hill by Sophie Hannah. I am not a fan of the sort of reimagined Agatha Christie books because I feel like they don't feel right. There's something amiss and I can't really pinpoint what it is, and I just don't think I enjoy them. I don't think I enjoy them. Like, this was a fine murder mystery, but it didn't feel like a Poirot. So I tried it. It wasn't for me. I'm also going to be unhauling a couple of memoirs. I have A Silent Voice Speaks by Trisha Singh and Going Solo by Roald Dahl. I very rarely reread memoirs, and it takes a lot for me to keep a memoir for rereading. But these two, I don't think I'm going to read them again, so someone else can enjoy them. I've got two arcs that I am going to unhaul as well. I've got The Sound of Sirens by Ewan Galt and The Sinister Cabaret by John Herdman. I really enjoyed both of these books, but I'm not going to read them again, so off they go. Also, I'm really low on space on my Scottish bookshelf, so I really need to free up some space, but I could only free up a teeny amount, so I'm gonna have to tackle that again at some point. Not just now though. I have two romances by Jasmine Guillory. I'm not a romance girly, but if I was gonna be a romance girly, I think that I would go with Jasmine Guillory because I really enjoy her books, but I know I'm not gonna read these two again. I've got The Wedding Day and The Proposal. They were both really fun, a little bit spicy, and had really good descriptions of food, which made me very, very hungry. But they're taking up space and I'm not going to read them again. Another romance, but this one is a paranormal romance, and it's Mooncalled by Patricia Briggs. I got this book in a charity shop. It called to me, and then I got it home and put it on Goodreads and realised it called to me because I've read it before. So I've now read this book maybe 3 times, and I actually have the graphic novel of this book. So I do not need 2 copies of it. And seeing as I've read it so many times, if I'm going to read it again, I will probably look to the graphic novel for a bit of a change. How to Build a Girl by Caitlin Moran. I absolutely adore all of Caitlin Moran's non-fiction writing, but I just don't enjoy her fiction as much. I just feel that I didn't enjoy this book as much as I have loved her sort of musings, her non-fiction, which I have all of. So this one, it just didn't work for me, and I was keeping it on my shelves because I really enjoyed the author, but that is a silly reason to keep a book on a shelf when there's not a lot of space. I have a teeny tiny book called Moon Tiger by Penelope Lively. This was like a fictional memoir, and I really enjoyed it, but I'm not going to read it again. It's super small, but it's also like small in size too, so off it goes. These next two are arguably a little controversial because I know they're quite popular. I'm going to be unhauling The Binding by Bridget. I have been planning to unhaul this one for a while because I absolutely love this book. However, I have seen some tweets. I'm like never on Twitter, so I'm so late to any Twitter drama, but I have seen some tweets by the author that are not cool. They're not okay, and I disagree greatly with some of the viewpoints of this author, so I don't want to keep their book anymore. And The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I know so many people love this book, and I thought it was okay. I liked it, but I felt like it was too long. There were a lot of moments that it went on too long, and it just drew me out of the story. And controversial yet brave opinion, I felt the same way about The Priory of the Orange Tree. It was too long. It didn't need to be so long. And it just kept pulling me out of the story. So unhauling this. Priory of the Orange Tree I own electronically, so I can't unhaul that. But I know I don't want to go on with the series. And my final 5 books are books that I really enjoyed, but they were relying on a twist that I remember, and it's a while since I've read each of these books, but I still remember the big twists. So I think that I can't reread them while I remember the twists. It would just ruin the experience. So off they go to a new home, and someone else can enjoy those twists, because these 5 I really liked. The City and the City by China Mieville. This is also, there has been an adaptation of this, which I do need to look up because this book was fantastic, and I think it would be really interesting to see how it works on the TV. Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Aliri Siennes. Absolutely love this, but I remember it. I remember it vividly, so I can't reread it while I remember it. How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. Again, love this, but it's stuck in my memory, and it's been about 2 years. The Stationery Shop of Tehran by Marjan Kamali broke my heart, but like in a good way. I don't know, I was broken after reading this. It was emotional and my wee heart. And the last book I'm unhauling is a book I really loved, but I remember it so well, and it was My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyin Khan Braithwaite. And maybe I won't get rid of this one. No, I should. It should go to a new home. Somebody else can enjoy it, because I remember what happened. This, excellent. If you've not read this, I highly recommend. So I'm fairly certain that is 30 books. I cannot hold them all because that's too many, but I have now freed up a decent amount of space that I think I can put away some of the books that have just been piled up and make my house a little bit tidier. I'm also thinking that I really might move my non-fiction books to the bottom of my shelf so I can free up a bit of space. Maybe, hopefully, because I really do need to free up some more space. So that's my unhaul. Thank you so much for watching.